So you guys are looking for a mobile tool storage. I have one here from Klein Tools, their MODbox, that I think is an excellent option that should probably be on the top of your list based on some of the features that they have here that some of the competition doesn't have. My goal here today, I'll briefly walk through all the boxes that I have up here and tell you why I chose this over some of the equivalent in the market. Starting with the bottom, this is the 2-drawer rolling toolbox. They also make another rolling version. It's just the single where it opens up at the top. The dimensions here are going to be 23.5 on your width. Your depth is going to be 22.3. Your height is going to be 16.5. Then back there with the handlebars collapsed all the way down, it's going to be 27. With that said, you can also remove that handlebar altogether, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. To get this one opened up, you're going to press the unlock and you're going to push that all the way down, and you can open your drawers. And as you can see, they do have a heavy duty ball bearing slides on the side, and those move very easily in and out. In addition, they also have a lock that kind of locks them into place there as well. Open up the bottom drawer, and likewise, it's a very easy, drawer to open and close. Then when you want to lock it, you simply lock it in place. This is one of the first things that I really like about these MODbox versus, specifically the Milwaukee, because I've had those in the past where they had that big bar out front here and you pull it down and you try to slide it underneath. This is a lot easier to open and close, as you can see there. And once you put it down here, it's out of the way. So I really do like that lock and unlock on this versus some of the others. And you also do have the option to put a padlock here if you want to prevent that from unlocking and locking. And over here, this is more for the cable lock. So if you have multiple boxes here, you can run a cable through all the boxes here, wrap it around your wheels, and that's just another form of security there. These are both steel reinforced in the middle there to kind of help protect that. On the top here, the first thing you're going to notice is this ruler mark. So if you're cutting any conduit or PVC, you can easily get a mark there. On the top, this is a pretty sturdy surface. However, they do say do not step on it. Over here on the side, you're going to notice they have these rails on all of these boxes. What you can do here is they make various different attachments where you can snap them in place and you can hold various tools. You can put, your tape measure on the end there. So these come in handy, and they make a lot of different attachments from lights. They have these hooks that can go on there where you can store different things. To remove them, you can pop them off. And over here on the wheels, these are 10-inch solid rubber. And if you look at some of the competition in the market, these are by far some of the best wheels. I've used some of the Milwaukee ones in the past, specifically the dollies, and they just seem to have problems with wheels always falling off. So I do believe that these are a lot better set up than some of the others out there. And you're also going to notice they are offset. So if you're going up and down stairs, that you're not going to be hitting the back there. So they do work really well. Moving on to the back, to remove this handle, just pull it out till it says unlocked on both of them. You just simply pull it out. So if you're trying to put that in the back of a vehicle or a truck, you can get rid of this to save some space. And to install it, just push it back down, push those in, and now it's locked in place. Then to raise the handle, just press this button here, and it'll raise it up. And again, if you want to collapse it, and just press the button again. Then the last thing on the back on the handles, they do have some cutouts here for levels or conduit or whatever you need to store with you, that you can very easily set these in place here. And they have those cutouts on the bottom, which kind of holds it in place. So that is a kind of a neat little feature there, that you can store things in there as well, while you're transporting things around, and they do stay in there very well. In regard to the dimensions on the top drawer, it's going to be 16 3/8 here. On your depth, it's going to be 13 inches. Your height is going to be 3 3/8 on the drawer here. And you do also have the ability to remove these. So on this version here, you're going to notice this is a single divider, that it all has to be removed. And likewise on this one and these two. On some of the other drawers, they do have the individual. So just pay attention on which drawers you're getting. Not all of them have the same dividers. Then moving on to the bottom here. Again, it's going to be 16 3/8 here. But our depth is just a little bit bigger on this one. It's going to be 13 1/4, and our height is going to be 9 1/2. And again, you do also have the ability to remove these as well. So you have the single here and also the single here that you can remove or keep those in there. And to give you an example of throwing some tools in here to give you an idea of the space, first get some of this out of here. And there is the dividers saw. This is just a 6.5 Milwaukee saw. And throw a couple of drills in here. Some batteries. And as you can see there is a lot of stuff that you can fit. You will notice on some of the drills, if they're a little bit higher past the dimensions I gave you a minute ago, you may or may not have to just tilt them down there to get them in there. But you do have a lot of space in this drawer here. And the weight capacity on this bottom drawer is going to be 50 pounds. The weight capacity on this top drawer is 20 pounds. And the weight capacity for the entire setup, meaning all of the boxes that you're going to include on this setup here, is 250 pounds. So it's pretty impressive on how much weight this thing can hold. Moving on to the next box that I have here, and this is the 2-drawer. And again, it's a very similar setup on this lock. You're just going to slide it down, and you can open and close your doors here. And they do also make a couple different versions of this. So this is the 2-drawer. There's a single drawer. Then there's also the 3-drawer version. So depending on your space needs or what you're trying to store there, there's a couple different options there. And I'll put the dimensions on all 3 of them on the screen. The drawer dimensions on this 2-drawer version are going to be 16.6 here and 12.5 on the depth. Then your height is going to be 5.4. And as I mentioned there a minute ago, this is one of the drawers that has an individual divider where you can remove these individually. So you can remove those on the sides. This in here is just going to be one single on the 2. So you can have things in here vertically like I have here. Or, again, you can include all these as well. And likewise down here on the bottom. As you can see, you can fit a lot of different things in here, and you can get things really organized. So I really do like these, that you can individually put these in here where you want. And then again, to close it up, simply lock it in place. Then the next box I have is just the single drawer version. So again, we'll snap it in place. And just like the other boxes, you do have your ruler mark up here. What's kind of unique on this one here is you're going to see it has a little bit different setup on the lock. So you're just going to press that up, and it also has this here to kind of help keep moisture out of there, and you can just lock it in place, so there's no need for the additional lock that the bottom drawers have. The dimensions on this box are a little bit bigger. So here on your width it's going to be 18 3/8, and here on your depth it's going to be 12 3/4. On your height you're going to have roughly 4.5 there. And again, you do have your dividers here that you can remove some. And call out on the dividers here, your longer ones here can only run horizontal here. You can't run them this way. So the only ones that are going to fit on this side here are going to be these. So depending if you're trying to get, things, separated like this, where you have these larger areas, which would kind of make more sense on this drawer because there is that reinforcement that they have in that middle. So it's raised up a little bit. I think it would make more sense, but you do have the option to remove, these ones in the middle. And obviously, likewise, you can also remove those as well. And there's that little part in the middle there that I was talking about that kind of raises that up. They call that kind of a reinforcement to help the drawer from sagging. And some of the drawers have them and some of them don't. But that is just something to keep in mind. One other thing I really do like on this box that they don't include on some of the others, and I'm not sure why, they also have this mat on the bottom. That kind of helps protect your tools from getting scraped up, or, kind of keeps things in place. But this is the only one, to my knowledge, that has that included in the box. Then one other thing here, in regard to some of your drill bit boxes that you might have. So as you can see, this Bosch one here, it does fit perfectly within this little ledge here. If I take some of my Milwaukees, you'll see that it gets hung up there. And obviously you can put them down like that as well. But that's just something to keep in mind. Depending on which box you have, I think these Bosch ones do fit a lot better, and you can fit a lot more in there. But again, you can always put them down like that as well. And one last thing, here on the single drawer, the weight capacity is going to be 30 pounds. If you come down here to these, this is going to be 25 and 25 for a total of 50 pounds on that middle one. And finally, we'll include the last box I have over here on this setup. So again, it snaps in place just like all the other ones. And on this one here, it's going to be a little bit different since it is on the top, and I don't really have the need to be able to use drawers because it's on the top. I do use this one here where I can store a lot of other miscellaneous stuff up top here. And you will notice on the top of any of the boxes that open like this, they will have this seal on the top to make sure water doesn't get down in there, and it'll get sealed here. Then the dimensions on this top, and it's going to be a little bit different because you do have, you know, some of those cutouts there, but just from the center here, it's about 19.5. Then on the depth, it's roughly 13.25. Then your height is going to be 4.5. You do also have the ability to remove this here, and you can just have one open area. You know, there are some dividers in here that you can also remove as well, and it also snaps in place. They do make a couple cutouts here where you can buy some additional dividers where you can divide things in here. But you can fit a lot of stuff in here, and it is pretty durable, and the weight capacity on this one is going to be 50 pounds. Alright, so here's the complete setup of the 4 boxes that I just went through there. So again, you can get into things on the top here. You can open up all your drawers. So this is probably my favorite setup right here because again, you can open up anything in here and you don't have to stack and unstack these. If you look at some of the others out there from some of the other brands, yes, they're slowly starting to make some of these drawers, but you know, if you don't want to keep unstacking and stacking these, you really need to have some drawers on the bottom. Up top here, you can have these that open this way because, you know, obviously there's nothing on the top, but it is really handy to have the drawers on the bottom like I have here on this setup. Then when you want to wheel this around, you know, it's very easily able to move, and I have quite a bit of weight in here. I don't think it's obviously quite at the 250 pounds, but you know, it is very sturdy, you know, moving it around as well there. So I really do like this setup. Moving on to a couple of these other boxes here that I have. Starting here, this is the medium toolbox, and this one has a weight capacity of 50 pounds, and it's a very similar setup to that one on the top there where it opens and closes from the top. One call out here on this one here, in regard to these handles, if you notice that pivots back and forth as you're opening and closing it, you must make sure that is connected in that back part, otherwise you won't be able to open and close this. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So if we pull the handle off, you can carry it around that way, but if you watch, when that's not clipped in place here, you have a tendency to hit that and it will not open and close correctly. So you got to make sure if you're going to be opening and close this, make sure this is snapped in place like that, then it'll easily open. And what that is doing, that's helping support this so it holds open like this so the lid just doesn't fall over. So just keep in mind that that has to be connected if you're going to be opening and closing this. A couple things on the inside here. You do have this bracket up here, and they do make some additional attachments where you can put a light in here. So if you're in an area where it's dark, you can put a light up here and help you kind of see in here. This is also included. And you can see I have a couple 6.5 circular saws down in here. So there's quite a bit of room in here. And obviously you can remove this and put whatever you want in there. And this can get snapped in over here on the sides and it'll help lock into place. But you know what I've been doing here regularly for the last couple of weeks is just putting it there and put some different things in here. One comment on this top piece here. Yes, it is nice that this is included for free. But I wish this was just a solid piece in here because I feel like you're limited in the space. You know, yeah, you could maybe put a couple screwdrivers or something in there, but you know, for me, it'd be nice if I could put some of my circular saw blades in there. And you know, obviously there, it's up too high here. It's going to be hitting on the top as well. If that was just a flat piece in there, I think I could fit a lot more stuff in there. Or if you have batteries, they could fit in there nicely. You can always just reach under there and get it out of there. So that is one thing maybe I wish was different on this here. But again, you know, it is nice that it's included. The other things on the inside here is you're going to notice these notches on each side, and this will fit 1/2-inch conduit or PVC. If you're looking to have any wiring or whatever, you don't want rolls in here, you can very easily put them in there, and that does work pretty good. They also make a version that has the front of this cut out where the wiring can come out the front. So if you do a lot of wiring, that might not be a bad option. And they also make this internal attachment. So what you can do on this one is you can put it in those notches on the back, And you can take some of these other attachments and you can snap them in like that. Now, when I first got this, I was putting it in this way. And on this version here, that sits very low. So depending on which boxes you have, they don't fit. So on this box here, you want to make sure you flip that upside down. On the other rolling box like this, you can put it up like this because it sits a little bit higher. So I don't know if this was made for that other box, but you can make it work on this one as well by simply just flipping around like that. And just like the other one I just showed a minute ago, it does have the nice latches as well. The last couple boxes here, so this is just one of the half width boxes, and you can see it's just half. You can get another there, or they make the full, or they make the skinnies. There's various different versions of these, and there's just a lot of room in here. These are all, again, removable. You can remove all of these inserts in the middle here. So there's really endless options. You know, again, there's that seal to keep water out. One thing you'll notice on a lot of these that open up here, you're going to see these little ridges there. That helps open and close it. And you're going to see if you come over here, it's completely flush there. So that is an area to open and close it. So that is kind of, again, a nice feature that all of these on the top that open that way, they all have that. Over here we have the small toolbox. And this one is going to come with one of these. And you also have dividers that you can get pulled out of there. So there's, you know, another one on the bottom. And the dimensions here on your width is going to be roughly 9 1/8. Our depth is 13. And our height is 12 inches. And, you know, obviously here are those ridges again. So that can decrease that a little bit depending on what you're going to put in there. But, you know, as you can see, you can fit a lot of different stuff in there. And just like our other one over there, it also does have a handle here where you can, you know, raise that up and put it in there. And one other thing on this top part, you can remove this altogether. So if you just want to have the bottom, or you can even attach this on all the way on the bottom there, you just simply raise it like that and it simply comes off. And when you want to attach it, you can put it back on there. So that is kind of a unique thing here with this toolbox. And again, it has the connections to lock onto all this other stuff as well. Then the last one I have here is the cooler. It does have a nice strap that's included. You can remove it if you want. And one thing I forgot to mention on some of these others, all these hinges on all of these, all are stainless steel dowels in the middle, so there isn't any plastic pivoting on plastic. With that said, that toolbox over there is the only one that doesn't have it. And the reason is because that top part comes off like I just showed you there. So, you know, in order for that to come off, it's just plastic over there. So just keep in mind that that one is a little bit different. But I really do like these, that there's those dowels in there, because I've reviewed a lot of different plastic workbenches and other things over the years. And, you know, when you have plastic in there, it's just going to crack over time. So I do like that those are reinforced with that metal dowel in there. And if we flip it around, it's going to be very similar with that latch there. They have a nice little compartment up here where you can open that and you can store different things in here. And you also notice that it does have the nice cooler lining in there. Some of the others in the market, they don't have that, and that's the reason why some of those other coolers don't stay cold. I've used this one a couple times and it does work well, and you can fit a lot of stuff in here. So just right there on that bottom, I do have 6 12-ounce cans, and, you know, I could probably stack 3 or 4 more levels on it and get ice in there. So you can store a lot of things in this cooler. All right, so to wrap things up here, I've had these for the last couple of weeks, and I've been very impressed with these. You know, obviously there's a different time and place for a lot of these boxes, and they make a lot of other versions that I don't have here as well, depending on your needs, all at different various price points. Yes, these drawers are a little bit more expensive than some of those other traditional ones over there. But, you know, again, it's dependent on what you need to do. If you're okay with unstacking and stacking, you can get by with getting the other rolling cart with, you know, the traditional tops that open. But if you're going to be unstacking and stacking them a lot, I really recommend going this drawer route. I think you'll be happy. It's just a little bit more, and you're not doing the extra work of packing and unpacking these. And I put these in back of a Silverado 2500 in the back seat area. I put them in the back in the bed, and they fit in there very nicely. So I really do like everything about these. So if you're in the market for one of these storage solutions, check out this Klein Tools MODbox. I think you might be impressed. If you compare this to some of the others in the market, they have a lot of features and a lot of better quality items, whether it's the latches, whether it's the drawers, different things that some of those others don't have. And some of those others are even more expensive. So I'm confident if you're in the market for one of these, this should be at the top of your list because it's been impressive the last couple of weeks I've had it, and I'm confident you'll like it as well there. So if you're interested in learning more or purchase on some of these, I'll put some links in the description where you can get these. Again, I think they're an excellent option if you're looking for something like this. So hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, please give me the thumbs up. If you're interested in more content like this, please hit that subscribe. But again, I hope this helped you out, and thanks for watching.